Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome in to Edging a Win here on Saturday, June 17th. We are back with 4 more best bets for you from around the world of soccer, including my MLS bet of the week. But before we get into all of our best bets, we have to welcome in the man to my left or right, depending how you see your screen, the face of the program, soccer expert, the best barbecue cook east of the Atlantic, and a man that will be forced to watch Ted Lasso from an American perspective, Mr. Ian Allen from Ian OUFC. Welcome in, sir.
I'm going to hold up my best barbecuing award that I won in Albuquerque, wherever that is. Way back in the day, Matt. So thank you for bringing that up. Great to be here. You thought that the season ended last weekend with the Champions League final, but it never ends. It never ends. And we're back with some international football this weekend, Nations League final. We think we've got 4 pretty good bets for you. Let's jump in and start.
Yeah, we got a good show lined up for all you. So without further ado, let's see if we can't edge some wins this weekend and dive into, Ian, your best 3 bets of the weekend. And as you mentioned, Champions League's over. All the European leagues are done. But that does not mean we are out of European football itself. We have Euro 2024 qualifiers going on all weekend and into early next week. And we are going to start with one at 12 p.m. Eastern time. What are we looking at here, Ian?
Listen to the pain in your voice as you were saying, with European football. Yes, get yourself up for it. These cracking European qualifiers are underway. And bet number 1 is kicking off in just a few hours, actually, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Norway versus Scotland, and we are looking at Norway on the money line as our first bet. And the reason for that is Norway are a pretty good price. I think they're around even money for this one, which I think is a good price for them playing at home. But they have had a poor start to the group. They had a defeat against Spain, a really poor draw with Georgia as well. So they need to get a win in this one, and they'll be hoping that they can get it against a Scotland side. But Scotland are top of this group, rather surprisingly, after 2 games, and they are going to be buoyed after that fantastic win they had against Spain at Hampden Park last time out. And it is the Scots who sit top of the league with 2 wins from 2. I don't expect this one to be a pretty game. I don't expect this one's going to win any awards for beautiful football or anything like that. I think Scotland are going to look to make this game tough. I don't think Norway are known for playing particularly great football, but I am backing their 2 big stars. Norway have got the 2 biggest stars in this game in Martin Odegaard and, of course, Erling Haaland up front, and I think those 2 are going to make a difference in this one. That is my bet number 1, Matt. It is Norway on the money line.
Yeah, honestly, it is hard to go against a team with Holland up front. We saw what he did in the Premier League, in the Champions League, although he didn't really do much in the final there. But Ian, I honestly think you are a little biased here, as you are an Englishman, and you probably don't want to give any credit to the Scots. But Scotland, and we talked about this a little off air, they are 2 wins from 2 games. Do they have any chance of winning this one and maybe shocking that group?
Absolutely, they have a chance of winning it. Yeah, for sure. They'll be going in this one not expecting to get a win, but they'll be thinking they can get something out of this game. And if they play in the same way they played against Spain, then they definitely could get something for sure. I mean, what helped against Spain is they did get an early goal, and that meant they were able to sit back and defend and control the game and just break the play up. And then they hit Spain in the second half with 1 as well. They got the midfield of Scott McTominay in there, Manchester United midfielder. He's going to be the real heartbeat of the side, going to try and get around the pitch, disrupt the game, probably going to have to try and make sure Martin Odegaard does not get a lot of time and space on the ball. But then up front, you've got the likes of John McGinn, you've got Lyndon Dykes, you've got Christie up there as well. You've got players that are capable of scoring goals. And Norway, I wouldn't say don't have the greatest of defences, but I do still think Norway being at home with a big crowd behind them, cheering them on, 2 big names in there, I just feel that they're going to edge this one out, but I don't think it's going to be a great game, and I don't even think it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah, I think Norway is a good pick here as well. I'm rooting for Scotland myself, but sometimes those teams, those underdogs who have won 2, are going. What else you got though?
This might shock you all, but I actually do want Scotland to do well.
That does shock me. Although their time might be up. They might come back down to reality, but we'll see. Moving on, we have a game at 2:45 p.m. Eastern tonight. We have, I believe it's Portugal versus Bosnia. Hurts to say it.
Herzegovina, any way you want to say it, but Bosnia is fine as well. Portugal versus Bosnia is our second game, and we are looking at goals in this one over 2.5 goals. First and foremost, I think we're all expecting Portugal to win this game and win it pretty comfortably, but I just hope that they carry on their goal-scoring form from the first 2 games where they bagged 10 in the opening 2. But those were against the group minnows, so Bosnia are a better side than that, but this is a Portugal side that does have a bit of an embarrassment of riches up front. Have still got Cristiano Ronaldo hanging on, clinging on to his international career up there as well. But Portugal, as I said, will win this group pretty easily, but sometimes they can be their own worst enemy, and sometimes they can be a bit sloppy in defence and give the odd goal away. And Bosnia, like a lot of European sides, are well organised, got some decent players, but they do really lack a lot of star power, and they're probably a better side when they play at home as opposed to when they are on their travels. So hopefully a nice big win for Portugal, and we can get this bet over the line pretty easily. Our second bet is Portugal versus Bosnia over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, it is a pretty easy group for Portugal. In fact, we talked about this also off air. Like, all these groups seem pretty easy for a couple of teams. I don't think Portugal's going to have a problem winning this one. But I did want to ask you about Roberto Martinez. Are you surprised that he got the Portugal managerial job after failing to deliver success with what was a pretty good Belgium side?
I'm really surprised that they picked him. Roberto Martinez was given a lot of chances with this Belgian team. I think he had 3 tournaments with them. Got to a semi-final, ended up finishing 3rd place in the World Cup in 2018. Did really badly in the last World Cup as well, and I think they went out in the quarterfinals in the European Championships in 2021. But this was Belgium's what they called golden generation. This is where they've had arguably the biggest pool of talent they've ever had in their history, and they were fully expecting someone to bring them a tournament home. And Roberto Martinez was the guy tasked with that, and he didn't really get the job done. And to put him in charge of a Portugal side which is very talented, likes to play attacking football, so that is something Martinez is actually good at. But I just wonder if he's going to be able to deal with the egos of that Portuguese side. You've got usually at Portugal, it comes down to a lot of infighting, comes down to a lot of people falling out with each other. I'm not sure Martinez is the guy that's really going to be able to deal with that, and so I think it's a bit of a strange one. We will see whether he does deliver success, but for me, I would have gone with someone a bit more experienced, with a bit more pedigree of winning trophies.
Just kind of to piggyback off of what you said there, if he doesn't have success right away, is there a short leash on him?
It depends how well or badly they do. I mean, what success is if they get to a semi-final. I think they might sort of say, well, okay, well, he didn't win it, but you had a good run, so we'll give you another go. If they lose in the group stages, or if they go out in the second round, then they might pull the trigger on him straight away. But I think it's a really, really strong Portugal side, and they should be right there winning trophies, semi-finals, finals, and so the pressure will be on him right away to deliver success, no doubt about it.
All right, one word answer: does Ronaldo start in this match?
Yep.
All right, moving on. I like that, though. Over 2.5 there. Portugal probably can get that by themselves if they actually want to. Nations League final, bet number 3. If you missed the midweek Nations League semifinal, you missed actually a couple of great games. Croatia against the Netherlands and Spain versus Italy. It is now going to find us with Croatia versus Spain, and this one I believe is Sunday at 2:45 p.m. Eastern. What are you seeing here? And I know, and tell us about the Nations League final in itself. I'm pretty sure this is actually bigger than Champions League, right?
Of course it is. Look, we'll get into our views on the Nations League and stuff like that a little bit at the end of this one, but it is the Nations League final. It's Croatia versus Spain. And our bet number 3 in this one, we are looking for Croatia to beat the spread. They're +1 on the spread, and I think that's a really good price for Croatia, who are a very, very difficult side to beat and don't lose many games at all. And so I think that's a really good price on them one. But it is the 3rd edition of the Nations League, and we are hoping for a good final and a high-scoring final this time around, Matt. A very entertaining game. But as you already said, the semi-finals were really good, so let's hope for a good final. And I honestly feel like Croatia are being overlooked by the bookies in this one, and they are a decent price. They were very impressive with their win against the Netherlands in that 4-2 victory after extra time. Went a goal down, bossed the second half, then gave that heartbreaking goal away at the end, but then came back even stronger in extra time and won that game convincingly by 4-2. Spain beat Italy by 2-1. I feel Spain deserved it because they largely dominated possession for large periods and were the better side. At times, it looked like they were like running out of steam a little bit and running out of ideas, but they did find that last-minute winner and that last-minute goal. But I think Croatia are such a difficult side to beat that I think Spain are going to struggle to break them down. I think this is going to be, you're going to have periods of the game where both sides dominate the ball and both sides dominate the other team and create chances. But I think that sort of game leans better towards Croatia than it does to Spain. I do think this game could be tight. This game could be tight and it could be level going all the way to penalties. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is the winner does come in penalties on this one. But it is, as we are back in Croatia, Matt, that is going to be a result that is going to be very welcome in the Grandstand Better household, because that is my bet number 3, and we'll get into it a bit more in a minute. But Croatia +1 on the spread is our 3rd and final bet.
Yeah, the wife's family and the wife from Croatia, she already gave me the nod to my left. She said, thank God, she was going to have to come across the pond and take it out on you if you picked Spain there. Technically, she doesn't know this, but Spain can still win and we can get a push. But listen, in terms of this game itself, and we live streamed, you and I, last week, the Champions League final. Fingers crossed that this is not like the Champions League final. Can you talk a little bit about maybe the tactics of this one, if it's going to be an open game, how each side looks to attack, and who are the key players on each side? Also, why is this tournament not hyped as much as others? JD in the chat real quick. What's up, JD? He says Spain has to keep this game low scoring. Thoughts on that?
I'm not sure about that one. I mean, I don't know why does Spain have to keep this game low scoring.
We're gonna throw it back to JD. Why does it have to be low scoring? Let us know. But tactically, what's going on?
I think again, a lot of these games, Croatia seem to be, certainly from this side of the world as well. I don't know what it's like in the States, but in this side of the world, Croatia always seem to be overlooked. And they always seem to be the side going in as the underdogs. I reckon there's a lot of people that thought Holland were going to beat them, and there's a lot of people that think Spain are going to beat them this afternoon as well. But we saw in the World Cup just how difficult this Croatia side is. They ran Argentina very close. They knocked out Brazil in the quarterfinals as well, which was a huge surprise. Croatia, it's that midfield 3 and that front 3, the way they work together. They press and they harry teams so well, win the ball back in dangerous areas, and then when they get the ball back, they're very, very good at getting into little pockets of space, passing the ball around. They're all excellent technique in there, the likes of Rodric, Kovacic, Kramaric. Brozovic is that tough tackling midfielder in there as well. But they work so well as a unit together. You've got the fullbacks get forward and create that natural width as well. It's just such a well-organised, well-drilled side, which is really better than the sum of its parts, if you like. For Spain, a lot of their joy comes through the midfield as well. And it's about, Spain is all about, a little bit like what we see with Guardiola. They're a lot about keeping possession, keeping the ball. The likes of Rodri, Pino, Xavi, Rodrigo in that midfield. It's about the turnover and possession, like dragging teams left and right, tiring them out, wearing them down, and then picking them off. Morata up front is a good focal point for Spain. He gives them the option of something in the air. But I do think you're going to see in this game 2 very evenly matched teams, and there's not going to be a huge amount to pick between the 2 of them.
So then why is this tournament though not big? Is it just because nobody knows about it yet? It's only in its 3rd year. Will it be big eventually?
I think that's something to do with it. It's in its infancy. I don't know what it's again. I don't know what it's like in the States when something new comes in, but usually it's met with a lot of cynicism and a lot of people are critical about it. Of like they want the change, but then they don't like it when the change comes.
Yeah.
The whole point of the Nations League was to eliminate meaningless friendlies being played between international clubs. So it creates this third trophy, if you like, behind the World Cup, behind the European Championships for teams to play for, and it gives teams a chance to play against better competition. You're in four groups against three other teams. Like, for example, England were in a group with Italy, Germany, and Hungary. Did spectacularly badly and ended up coming bottom, but it gives you that chance to play competitive games against sides equal to your level, which ultimately will improve you as you go forward, rather than playing crappy friendlies where you play one team one half, you make 11 changes, 11 different players come off for the second half, and it's a completely boring game. I like it. I think it's a good format, and I think given it in a few years' time, I think it will start to come into its own and people will start to get behind it. It doesn't help when the semi-finals aren't put on TV, like they're put behind a very obscure paywall in the UK, which meant a lot of people didn't even get a chance to see it. Thankfully, the final is on free-to-air TV, which will be good. But I think they need to do a lot more to hype the profile of it as well.
Yeah, I do understand the premise of it to get rid of European friendlies, as you mentioned. Those games are just not fun to watch. Some might say though the Euro 2024 group stage is like a European friendly.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that. As a lot of as we talked about, there's a lot of meaningless games, or they're not meaningless because you have to qualify, but they're games where you don't learn a lot from it as well. Like England beat Malta last night 4-0. What would he absolutely learn from that game?
I learned that Malta was a country, and not a malt beverage.
It's both.
JD clarified. He says, "I just see Spain trying to play keep away." Quite honestly, yeah, that's. I mean, Spain we know for sure is not a team that likes to be overly attack. They like to be a possession controlled team. But JD also feels like the UEFA Nations League is as popular as CONCACAF, basically. I would agree. And if you probably didn't even know this, but CONCACAF has their own Nations League, which the United States this Sunday will actually be playing in the final against Canada as well. And there'll be 16 people watching that one. So
the thing about that one, though, Matt, is how does that improve, like, the level of competition? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, isn't it just going to come down to USA Mexico likelihood?
Well, I mean, the USA played Mexico in the semis and they beat them. So, I mean, this time it comes down to Canada. But in all honesty, this is how I see how they use that league in the Nations League. I think they just use it again as like a friendly because the CONCACAF needs the USA to be good. Let's be honest. Yeah. Like, if the USA is not good, then there's no reason to even have that league in the first place. So I think they use all of their Gold Cups, all of those, very heavy Mexico, Canada, USA finals as a chance for the USA to warm up and be a strong CONCACAF team going into the World Cup. I think that's all it's used for. I think it's just, a primer, if you will. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel for me the three main CONCACAF sides are obviously USA, Mexico, and Canada.
Panama,
put them in whatever order you like.
Yeah,
but they would benefit so much more if they played against the South American sides, or if they played against European opposition on a more regular basis.
Yeah, and we will see that. Copa America, I think, is going to have the USA in it this next time up. So we will see that. But there are some other notable games, Ian, with these Euro 2024 qualifiers that I know you have your eyes on this weekend. And if I'm not mistaken, a little bit house divided in the Ian Allen household this weekend.
Oh, what a big game. Oh, the loyalties are divided. It's going to put a big wedge between me and my wife and the rest of my extended family, the in-laws. But England versus North Macedonia. Yeah, that's where my wife is from. And And it's what a huge game it's going to be, Matt. I'm really looking forward to it. But that's obviously, if England win that one, it means they've beaten all the other teams in the group already, which pretty much puts them 1 foot qualified already. I wouldn't begrudge Macedonia getting something from that one. I still think England will get through even if they don't win that one at all. But not all the other games. There's no other really big heavy hitters playing against each other or anything like that. But the other one is just that Nations League 3rd and 4th place playoff, which is your losers final, as you probably would call it, Netherlands versus Italy, and which will probably be played with Netherlands will probably go into it with a lot more than Italy because it is in the Netherlands and they'll probably want to win it in front of their own fans. But going for 3rd and 4th is never the most enjoyable game.
Another great game on right now, actually. Lithuania, Bulgaria, 1-0 to Lithuania. I mean, just an absolute, cracker of a game here.
There we go. That's the elite of European football going head-to-head on that. But look, before you jump into the MLS, I wanted to just ask you quickly about that USA-Mexico game. Because wasn't there like 4 players sent off or something? I saw Weston McKennie had his shirt ripped off, Hulk Hogan style.
Yeah, all hell broke loose, near like the 80th minute of that game. USA was up 2-0. And by the way, Pulisic was the guy that got the 2 goals up to that point. So at least he's doing something on an international level because he didn't do anything with Chelsea this past season. But yeah, in the 80th minute, there was some pulling of the jerseys, the ripped jersey. The crowd was chanting some homophobic slurs. It got really out of hand. It was a bad look, quite honestly, for the Mexican fans and the Mexican team. They couldn't keep their head together. But with that said, the USA have to just keep their composure too. Let the other team do what they're doing, and they didn't do that. And they got angry. They ended up getting 2 red cards. It was just kind of an embarrassment. They ended up putting a 3rd goal in too, which probably for them. And that's what you should do. You should shut up with your mouth and use your foot to put an end to the heated argument there. Yeah.
Okay.
But one last thing
that was in Mexico.
It was And one last thing though, during the game, breaking news came out. Our coach Greg Burkholder is coming back. I don't know why, but they're bringing him back.
Where's he been?
I don't know. He's probably on that Belgian team.
That was in Mexico, though, was it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, really good win. That's a very impressive win for the US.
Yeah. So it was good. We'll play Canada in the final. Davies on Canada is the man to watch in that match for the Canadians. He's a very good Canadian striker. I think we saw his coming out party in the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did. But Alphonso Davies, I feel like he wants to do everything though. Like he likes to. He doesn't. He's not really.
Yeah.
You feel like he's the one who wants to like run around 5 players every time he gets the ball. He's the one who's got to take every free kick, take every corner, try and have the most shots on goal. So he is their star man. But I would still say that the US should come out and win.
Yeah, I would too. And speaking of the US, it's enough of this world soccer news. Let's shift our focus moving forward to the MLS the next few weeks. That's all we're probably going to be talking about till we then talk about the Women's World Cup. But don't look now in the MLS because we have our St. Louis City SC team in first place officially and a stronghold in that position in first place in the Western Conference. They have 29 points. And they have 1 to 2 games in hand, actually, versus everybody in that conference, with the exception of LAFC, who I'm going to speak about here in just a moment. But St. Louis SC, they're coming off what is, I'm going to characterize a very disappointing draw at home versus the LA Galaxy. They gave up a late equalizer and it ended 1-1. They're going to face a very good test tonight versus this Nashville team that is sitting in second in the East. And I think tonight's performance, quite honestly, Ian, is going to give us a good indication of how they will do in a playoff atmosphere. Now, Ian, this St. Louis City team, after looking like they might fall off after that hot start, remember there was a couple weeks where it got a little bit shaky, and Klaus, who has been out since then, and who knows if he starts tonight, it looks like they are back on good form, and it looks like they're inevitable that they could make the playoffs in their first season. Could you compare maybe to this St. Louis SC team to any Premier League team in years past that kind of came up, was an expansion team, if you will, that was great out of the gate and made it, into maybe close to that top 6 area?
There's been some sides that have come up and done well. I wouldn't say there's been many sides that have come up and been top certainly not top of the Premier League after 16 games. But there are a few sides that's been done. Sheffield United did really well when they came up in their first season, surprised a few sides. Wolves have been always pretty steady, were really good when they came up as well. But none of them have been as in the top of the league, the first, second place, something like that, for as long as St. Louis have. So it's they for a new, as I say, you keep almost forgetting that they are a new side because they've done so well. It has been a remarkable start, really.
Yeah, they've been great, and the league is only going to get a little bit more attention here as we are on official Messi watch. I think the first game he's eligible for is in just the first couple of weeks of July. Now, that's not to say he's going to come in and start playing right away. I think he already has a house in Miami, though, and I think I saw a picture of it, and it's just a tiny bit bigger than mine, but... yeah, the whole world is on Messi watch in the MLS, and we'll see how his first game goes. But in terms of this weekend, it is a very small slate in the MLS. There's only 6 matches going on, as we do have the international break with the Euros going on. We have an upcoming midweek match day next Wednesday. The only game from a fan standpoint, other than that St. Louis City game, that I am interested in maybe paying attention to this weekend is Sporting KC versus LAFC tonight. Sporting KC, after starting off as one of the worst teams in the West, is now actually unbeaten in their last 4. They've picked up 10 points, putting themselves back into a playoff position at the moment. LAFC, on the other hand, has lost 2 straight matches, both to the Houston Dynamo, and they have only scored 1 goal in their last 3 matches. It's very uncharacteristic of LAFC. The question tonight is, will LAFC on the road drop another match, or will they bounce back in this spot and make it a cluster at the top of the West standings with St. Louis and Seattle? So that's kind of what I'm intrigued from a fan point of view. Anything, Ian, maybe you might be intrigued? I know you're always looking at some matchups. What do you got going?
I mean, again, it's such a short fixture one. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really gonna hopefully try and stay up for that Nashville St. Louis one. I really just, it's 2 sides. Obviously, you've already said top of the East, top of the West kind of thing. Just really hope St. Louis put in a good performance on the road. They've been really struggling away from home, and I just want to see them put in a similar sort of performance that you see at home, away from home for me tonight.
Yeah, and hey, welcome in, Al. Good morning, Al. How you doing? Welcome in. Friend of the channel says, good morning, gents. There's not much going on in the MLS from a fan perspective, but I do have my MLS bet of the week, and honestly, this one's going to sound familiar to you, Ian. It's my bread and butter go-to in the MLS when I see this opportunity available, and it's in the New York City FC versus Columbus Crew game, and I think you already know where I'm going with this one. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be taking over 2.5 goals in this one. As we know by now, and everybody should know by now, the New York City FC team plays on the shortest field in the MLS in Yankee Stadium, which creates constant offense with back-and-forth action from end to end for 90 minutes. Now, Ian, you might say, well, hey, didn't they just have a draw 0-0 versus New England at home last week? And hasn't it been 3 weeks since this NYCFC team has scored a goal? And my answer to you, Ian, would be, shut up. Prior to that draw versus New England, they hit the over in 6 of their last 9 matches, and against the Crew at home, they have gone over 2.5 goals in 3 of their last 4 matches. Listen, Columbus is averaging in all their matches 3.5 combined goals per game, and they've gone over 2.5 goals in the last 3 on the road. New York City FC at home is going to get out of their scoring funk, put up a couple goals tonight against a decent Crew team, and I see this one actually being close, and most likely I think it might come out a 2-2 draw, or there might be a late nick of a goal to make it 3-2 victory for one side. So tonight I do like New York City FC and Columbus over 2.5 goals.
Right. We're gonna end this by me putting you on the spot here.
Go ahead.
Who's gonna win the US Open?
Oh, so I have a future bet on Harry English that I took at the end of the first round. He was 6 shots back. And you know what? I thought to myself, we're doing edging a win. The guy's got a last name of English. I'm like, let's put... So I didn't only put, a $10 bet on him, but he was at the moment, I think he was 90-1 or 60 or 90-1. Either way, it'd pay out at least $600 if Harry English wins the U.S. Open.
Oh no, he's 3 shots back at the moment.
Is he? Well, then if he's only 3, I did notice he did have a good day, but that was before all the big names went out like McIlroy, etc. So I think McIlroy's in the lead right now.
Let's not bog this down with golf, and let's just say, go Harry English.
All right, before we sign off, a bit of fun news as Edging a Win soon will be, as I mentioned, getting its own YouTube channel, and we will have an all-new soccer betting channel, so we'll take all of our soccer stuff, we're going to put it onto Edging a Win, and that will be a new soccer betting channel coming to YouTube in hopefully just about 4 or 5 weeks. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming to your device real soon. Ian has no idea that although it's going to be me with a password to get into the YouTube channel, that he is officially signed on as a co-partner of that channel. So all the proceeds of the 2 subscribers at the moment will go to Ian solely.
Oh.
All right, Ian. Hey, listen. By the way, Bulgaria scored. It's 1-1 in that game in the 30th minute. We got a lot of European.
He missed his chance. He was going to bet the over, and he thought these 2 sides have never scored a goal for like 6 months. Oh no!
I did. I couldn't pull the trigger. All right. I know you are on your way to watch a lot of European football. That means nothing. And I am probably going to take a nap. So we will be back here. We'll say the same time next week. I don't know. It could change. We'll see. So everybody have a great day, and we will see you next time.